Okay, so here we are. This is the second lesson, and this lesson has to do with this sheet which says the government, the systems of government. So I just want to start out by saying that when they talk about the federal government, that is all of the states. So when they talk about the system of government, usually that's what it means. So I'm going to go through the questions, and they are in order, so it's going to seem kind of scattered. Then I'm going to go back and go over this sheet, and then we'll do the questions again. So in this, it didn't cover every single thing, but I broke it down. We're going to do 26 questions because that was what made the most sense. And then we'll do 5 bonus questions on symbols and holidays, which you already know the answers to most of those. So these are the ones that we're going to do today. So a lot of this has to do with the Congress, the Senate, and the President, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's see where I was starting with this. I don't even remember. Oh, I thought I had this in some kind of order, but maybe I don't. I thought I had an extra page. All right, well, we'll figure it out in a minute anyway. All right, so what political party is the president now? So our president, Donald Trump, his political party is the Republican Party. There's 2 different parties, big parties. There's the Republican Party and there's the Democratic Party. I can explain that in detail if you're ever interested, but for the sake of this test, you just need to know that the political party of the president right now is the Republican Party. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives? Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. Who vetoes bills? And remember, bills are things that are the rules that are made up that have to do with kind of going back to the Constitution a little bit. But who vetoes the bills? Who basically says vetoes means that it doesn't happen, they can stop it. Vetoing means to stop. Who can veto a bill? The president can veto a bill. What does the president's cabinet do? What does the president's cabinet do? They advise the president. So there's lots of different ones. They're going to say, the next question says, what are 2 cabinet level positions? And there's a whole list of them. You only have to name 2. So we're going to go with, and they're usually Secretary of something. There's a whole bunch of them. Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Education. So you just have to memorize those 2. What are 2 cabinet level positions? Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Education. Okay. Name one branch or part of the government. You're going to say Congress. Name one branch or part of the government. Congress. What stops one branch of the government from becoming too powerful? And we'll talk about what that means in a minute. This is probably the one that I think is the trickiest to remember, but you'll probably have to say it in your mind several times, so we'll go over it twice. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? It's called checks and balances, or the separation of powers. So let me say that again. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Checks and balances and separation of powers. I'll explain what that means a little bit in a minute, but you just need to memorize checks and balances, separation of powers. What's the one branch, what's the one thing that can keep it from becoming too powerful? Checks and balances, separation of powers. I even have a hard time remembering that one, but if you get that crazy lady again that was so mean to you, then she's probably going to ask you that question, so you should know the answer. Okay, next one. Who is in charge of the executive branch? The answer is the president. Who makes the federal laws? Congress, the state and House of Representatives, or you can say the legislature. I think, just in reading this over again and again, I think you just have to basically explain that who makes the federal laws. I think you can say Congress, because when we talk about Congress, it means the House and the Senate. So who makes the federal laws? Congress. What are the 2 parts of the United States Congress, or the U.S. Congress? The Senate and the House of Representatives. What are the 2 parts of Congress? The Senate and the House of Representatives. How many U.S. senators are there? 100. We elect a senator for how many years? 6. And if you remember, the way we talked about remembering that was senator starts with S and the number 6 starts with S. So Senator 6. That's a good way to remember it. Who is one of your state's United States senators now? So for Pennsylvania, we have Bob Casey. Now, the House of Representatives has how many voting members? This is a number to memorize. 435. 435. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? 2. Name your U.S. representative. I don't know where his first name is. I know his last name is Costello. Ryan Costello. You'll remember that. He's Italian. Okay. Who does a U.S. senator represent? The answer is all the people of the state. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? Because some states have a larger population, they basically have more people. So you could say because some states have more people. That would be an answer. We elect a president for how many years? 4. In what month do we vote for the president? November. Who is the president of the United States? Donald Trump. Who is the vice president of the United States now? Mike Pence. If the president can no longer serve, who becomes the president? The answer is the vice president. If the president and the president can no longer serve, who becomes the president? And that's the Speaker of the House. In this case, it would be Paul Ryan. Really scary to think about that, actually. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military? The answer is the president. Who signs bills to become laws? And the answer is the president. So what I did was I went through all of those questions, which we'll go over again in a minute, and divided this up to make it a little bit easier to understand. So that's why I did these boxes that you can follow along with. Okay. So basically our system of government, there's many different branches. You've got the Congress, you've got legislative, president, executive, courts, judicial, like the Supreme Court. Don't ask me how all these work, and you don't need to memorize them. I'm just trying to explain that there's a big system because we don't have a king. So we have a system, and none of those parts can work by themselves. And that's why you have the checks and balances and the separation of powers, because each of them has a job, so they kind of keep each other in check. It's really not any different from how your restaurants run. If you have your bussers have to back up your wait people. The wait people need the hostesses to seat people and to tell them that they have new tables. You've got to have your bartenders. Everyone has to work together as a team. So basically it's the same thing, but no one part of the restaurant is more important than the other, except for you. But that's basically what it is. So when we talk about that question again was what stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? And the answer is checks and balances and separation of powers. Now, when they talk about the separation of powers, that's, to me, I'm not sure it really has to do with that. I think it has more to do with there's some laws that are federal for all of the states, and then there's some things where they say, you know what, the state can handle it. Like Pennsylvania, you can do your own driver's licenses. You can do different things. We don't need to be taking care of that for your state. Anyway, so that's kind of how that question works. All right, so back to the regular stuff. There's two parts of Congress. There's two parts of Congress. There's the Senate and the House of Representatives. They make all the laws for the states, okay? Congress makes the laws. Now, in the Senate, you have 100 senators. They each serve 6 years, Senate 6. From Pennsylvania, we have Bob Casey, and the Senate's job is to represent the people of their state. In the House of Representatives, you have the head of that would be the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. There's 435 voting members. They're elected for 2 years. And Ryan Costello is our guy from Pennsylvania. And the reason that some states have more representatives than others is because some states have more people. So that's kind of the difference between the two of them. There's a lot of ins and outs that you can learn eventually about how each of them works differently, and it's actually very interesting. But for this test, that's what you need to know. The Senate has 100 senators. They're elected for 6 years. We have Bob Casey. They represent the people of the state. The House of Representatives, there's 435 members, 2 years each. Costello's our guy, and some states have more representatives because they have more people. Now, the president, Donald Trump, he's a Republican. We vote for the president in November. They serve for 4 years. He is commander-in-chief of the military. He can sign bills to become laws. He can veto or stop. He can veto a bill from becoming a law. And he has a cabinet to advise him, tell him what's going on. So the two you're going to remember are the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Education. And the president is also in charge of the executive branch. Mike Pence is the vice president, and he would serve if Trump could no longer serve. And if neither of those two guys can serve, then the Speaker of the House, which right now is Paul Ryan, would serve. That's basically it. That's it. Now we're going to go back over the questions. Once you have these questions, we're going to be at 46. And then we're going to add in 5 more fun questions just so we can say that we're over 50. That means you're halfway there. Good times. Okay, here we go. See if you can answer them. I'm going to pause in between. What is the political party of the president now? The Republican Party. What is the political party of the president now? The Republican Party. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? Paul Ryan. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? Paul Ryan. Who vetoes bills? The president. Who vetoes bills? The president. What does the president's cabinet do? Advises the president. What does the president's cabinet do? Advises the president. What are two cabinet level positions? The Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Education. What are two cabinet level positions? The Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Education. Name one branch or part of the government. Congress. Name one branch or part of the government. Congress. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? That's that tricky one. Checks and balances. I think you only need to say one, but if you can remember both, then you can wow that girl. Checks and balances, separation of powers. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? Checks and balances and separation of powers. You can probably remember checks and balances because you have to cut a check to pay some of your staff, and then you have to have a good balance on your accountant's books at the end. So maybe that's a good way to remember it. You got to write the checks for the balances. So checks and balances. It's kind of a kooky way to explain it, but anyway. Who is the president of the executive branch? The president. Who is in charge of the executive branch? The president. Who makes the federal laws? Congress. Who makes the federal laws? Congress. And remember, when we talk about Congress, the Congress is the Senate and the House. It's just to use one word to explain that, that's what it is. The Senate and the House is Congress. It's the same thing. What are the two parts of Congress? I just told you. The Senate and the House of Representatives, or you could just say the Senate and the House. What are the two parts of the United States Congress? The Senate and the House. How many senators are there? 100. How many senators are there? 100. We elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? 6. We elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? 6. Who is one of your state's U.S. Senators now? Bob Casey. Who is one of your state's senators now? Bob Casey. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? 435. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? 435. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? 2. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? 2. Name your U.S. representative, like the one from our state. Ryan Costello. Name the U.S. representative from our state. Ryan Costello. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? All the people of their state. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? All the people of the state. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? Because some states have more people. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? Because some states have more people. We elect a president for how many years? 4. We elect a president for how many years? 4. In what month do we vote for the president? November. In what month do we vote for the president? November. What is the name of the President of the United States now? Donald Trump. What is the name of the United States President now? Donald Trump. What is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? Mike Pence. What is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? Mike Pence. If the President can no longer serve, who becomes President? The Vice President. If the President can no longer serve, who becomes the President? The Vice President. If both the President and the Vice President can no longer serve, who becomes President? Speaker of the House. If the President and the Vice President can no longer serve, who becomes President? Speaker of the House. Who is the Commander-in-Chief of the military? The President. Who is the Commander-in-Chief of the military? The President. Who signs bills to become laws? The President. Who signs bills to become laws? The President. And that's all for that section. That was all 26 questions. Now, here are the fun little 5 ones that we're going to quick do. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? Because there were 13 original colonies. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? Because there were 13 original colonies. Why does the flag have 50 stars? Because there is 1 star for each state. Because there's 50 states. Why does the flag have 50 stars? 1 star for each of the 50 states. What is the name of the national anthem, our song? The Star-Spangled Banner. What is the name of the national anthem? The Star-Spangled Banner. When do we celebrate Independence Day? Like what day of the year? When do we celebrate Independence Day? July 4th. When do we celebrate Independence Day? July 4th. Name 2 U.S. holidays. I'm trying to remember what you said before, and I can't remember it. Say Independence Day, because that was already just asked. And I don't know, you can say Thanksgiving, you can say Christmas, New Year's Day. Why don't you just say Christmas? It's easy. Okay? Alright, and that concludes this section. Next, we will be doing some American history, because we didn't really do enough of that last time. That'll probably be broken into a couple different little lessons, and then we'll finish up with anything else that we didn't get to in the final video. Okay, that's it. Happy studying, and go back and watch the first one as review. Bye.